If I was to give a last lecture, it would probably be on something like rolling with the punches and making the most out of every opportunity and situation that's thrown at you in life. And I'll start by saying that this hasn't always been a strong suit for me, even though I do feel passionately about it. There were points in my childhood and growing up where I used to have these spells of extreme self-pity, where if something, no matter how big or small, didn't go my way, I would just lose it. I mean, I would slam every door and punch my pillows, and sometimes I would even just totally break down and just cry about it. And it wasn't a healthy lifestyle, and it didn't make me happy, and it didn't make my family happy, and the people around me happy. And so one day it just clicked for me that I should just learn to roll with these negative things that come to my life, because there's really no way to keep these negative things from happening. No matter how perfect a person you are, no matter how much faith you have in God, no matter how much hard work you put in, things still will go badly for you. Michael Jordan, one of the hardest workers of all time, there's this famous commercial, and he talks about how many times he's failed and how many times he's gotten back up and tried again. And so something finally resonated with me that I need to learn to roll with these punches and learn to just rise above it. And luckily, I did learn to do this, because I'm not sure I would have made it through this past year without it. Like a lot of students at Chatham High School, I had these very high college aspirations, and I'm not the smartest person, but I've done pretty well in school, and I've done some pretty good extracurriculars, and I thought I could go to these very good schools, and I sent applications there to two very good schools, and that's where I had my heart set on going the whole time. And unfortunately, both, I got one no from an early action, and it was actually on my birthday that I got the no. And I remember I got it, and I did cry about it. I cried pretty hard for maybe an hour, and just thought, and for that hour I thought, my life is never going to be how I wanted it to be. How am I supposed to make something of myself if I'm not going to this dream college? And I'm not going to be who I want to be, and I won't be a success in the real world. And then I just thought, no, there's a plan for everything. If this college doesn't want me, another college will. And then maybe a month or two later, I got another letter from my other dream school, and it said, "We appreciate your effort, but in this very competitive school, we don't have a spot for you." And I thought, oh, for two already. Doesn't get much worse than that. And then I thought, you know what? You still have schools to hear from. Why don't you just stay positive? You gotta learn to roll with these punches. You gotta know that if you stay positive, everything will work out. And I stayed positive, and I kept waiting. And eventually, I got a couple yeses from some good schools that I'm very happy to be going to. But deep in my heart, I always had wanted to go to these schools that said no. But I got past it. I learned to roll with the punches. I learned to make the most out of every situation. Because in reality, it's not so much as to where you go in college and what you're taught. It's what you learn and what you get out of it. And I saw that, and I'm learning to implement that lifestyle, implement that philosophy into my lifestyle. So there was that, and as a lot of people know, I'm a big golfer, and I really just enjoy the game. But that being said, it is an incredibly frustrating game. And there would be times when I would used to go out and play with my dad, and I would hit bad shot after bad shot after bad shot after hitting good shot after good shot after good shot on the driving range. And so I'd get on the course and hit these bad shots. I would lose it. I would throw my clubs. I would curse. I would just want to give up. I would walk off the course sometimes. And one time I even hit this awful 8 iron shot after a bad drive, and I took my club and just smacked it up against that golf cart, and it snapped right in half. And that really showed me you just lost yourself about $150 on one bad shot. You got to learn to roll with these punches on the golf course. And so I started practicing more, and I started getting better slowly and slowly. And I'd still hit these bad shots, and to this day I still hit these bad shots, and I learned to roll with the punches. And I learned to make the most of the next shot and improve on the next shot. And I always remember this one time, my grandma, who loves golf more than almost anything, she's 82, and every single year she thinks this is going to be her year to finally beat the game of golf. And but I remember one year she was watching Tiger Woods in the US Open, and he's in the sand, and he hits one sand shot and doesn't get out. And he hits his next shot and doesn't get out, and then he finally, on his third attempt, hits it and gets out of the sand, but it wasn't a good shot. So he throws his club, and the cameras catch him cursing, and she calls me up and says, "Well, I hope you're watching this. Never do that." And I thought, well, if Tiger Woods can do it, why can't I? And then I thought, you know what? I'm not Tiger Woods. I'm Will MacCallum. I need to learn how to control my own life and how to roll with these punches that are thrown at me. So, what I'm saying is that life isn't perfect and that things aren't always going to go your way. But if you learn how to accept these imperfections and failures that will meet you at every step of the way, and you learn to rise above them, that you'll live a happy and successful life no matter what you do.